Let's spin it. Let's see what we got. See what we come up with. Uh-oh. Okay. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Might have a... See, I never know where it's gonna go. Okay, here we go. Kinda like naming NFL equivalent each NBA player.
Most men only with the woman that they with because she was an easy grab. And most women go, oh, what do you mean? And I say, your girl's an easy grab because most of y'all date women that can't really do nothing for you. Let me prove my point. Look at your girl and ask her for $10,000.
Make no mistake about it, I have a healthy amount of respect for Kevin Garnett because he came from a very difficult situation in high school, if you know his story, to go to become a multimillionaire and a Hall of Fame basketball player. But his difficulty saying the word equivalent,
kinda like naming NFL equivalent each NBA player,
is a microcosm for in a community where we overwhelmingly get a lot of our life and romantic advice from NBA players and stars is unfitting for regular people. If you're a regular person dating someone who's a teacher or working a regular job, the idea of going to them and asking them for $10,000 as a way of them proving how valuable they are in your life is not something that you even see some Asian doctors do with the people that they're dating, because that $10,000 might be locked up in some kind of retirement account, or it's just a ridiculous ask for regular people working regular jobs. But if you have a community like ours that's over-indexed on stars and basketball players and sports athletes, people that have made a lot of money because they sing really well, they dance really well, they jump very high, and there's someone who is entertained by what they did giving this kind of advice, then it just warps everything. Like Lisa Ray.
If I'm going to these restaurants just for lunch meetings and it takes you your whole check to take me there, I don't want to stress you out. You cannot hang with me. You are still wanting a vacation for the weekend. I vacationing on holiday for the month. We are not going to be able to make this work.
Of course, many of us will hear this and know that she's delusional only if for the fact that she has been a starlet for a very large portion of her life, and she was once married to some kind of Arabian prince or something where she had her own island or something. So there's no way that she can marry someone like an engineer or a doctor and be on the same kind of reality plane because she's lived a really opulent life. But it's not necessarily as much her preaching this to the young ladies as much as it is the effect that it's having on the young ladies, because they're saying, well, if she can have it, then why can't I? And truth be told, neither of them can really have it.
Here are my dating non-negotiables as a plus-size woman in Atlanta who has learned her lesson one too many times. I do not do home dates. I don't want you to cook for me. We will not be Netflix and chilling. Just no to all of the above, no.
I'm well traveled. I'm well cultured. I'm talented. I'm successful. I'm domesticated.
All those low effort dates that y'all keep pitching, ice cream dates, coffee dates. Somebody told me that she's been asked on a people watching date.
I'm family. You get all these things. Don't you know that I have a list as well?
I don't date men with kids. No explanation. I do not date music artists. Do I want to explain that? No. I think this should go without saying. If you subscribe to any weirdo, misogynist, like anti-black podcasts, no. And I can tell, I will always be able to tell very quickly. You won't even make it to the date with me if you listen to Kevin Samuels, so.
You need to have your list. Do I check the boxes that you need for in a woman? Do you check the boxes for me? And one of them has to be accomplished.
If your vocabulary doesn't go past vibe and energy, there's nothing to talk about. If I wanted to just read and hear about nothing, I would just go to Justin LA Boy's page and just read through the comments or the Shade Room.
Successful, powerful, and rich.
And lastly, I love to ask men, what do you think of Lizzo? And I leave it like that. I don't ask, what do you think about her weight? I just say, what do you think about her? Plus size women, I think women period need to start asking that. And come back and tell me what you've learned. The answer usually reveals a lot about them and a lot about how they see women, period.
One of the reasons why I think it's so important for us as Black people in particular to not over-index on the outliers that are entertainers and basketball, football, sports athletes is that they're in such a different world that if the normal person tries to have the same level of criteria, they're basically just pricing themselves out of the market, which you can hear. And it's leading to, well, a couple of things. One is you have a young lady who's plus size, self-admittedly, saying that you have to like Lizzo, you have to not have any issues with body positivity, and this whole list of criteria for what she will not accept on a date. And then you have what is closer to reality in that this lady making a post that is specifically for men, essentially begging. She's not begging directly, but what she's really, quote unquote, begging for is the old days when guys courted properly. And if you listen through the regular speak, you can hear it.
Do you know that having a spoiled wife or a kept wife or just has no absolute care in the world is a huge flex for a man? Like a huge flex. It benefits the woman, but it adds way more value to you than her. When you choose a wedding ring that has wow factor, when your girl is out, the first thing people are thinking is, who is she married to? He must be a guy of value and she has the best life ever. I don't know if guys notice. I don't know if you guys ever really think about this, but when your girlfriend is raggedy, unkept, looks a hot mess, looks stressed out, look worn out, it is a direct reflection on you as a man.
At the very least, it's interesting, if not downright entertaining, to see her resort to shame tactics to say that men in the modern day era where we are on par in terms of gender equity or very close to it or closer than we've ever been to it, especially after voting for an election where a woman almost won the presidency as a minority woman. In this environment, she's saying that if your wife, your woman is not a kept woman, you're not doing your job as a man. It's a joke, really. And what she's really doing is she's making an appeal for guys to go back to courting, because that's what I see. But in this environment, it's pretty clear that guys are getting some power back, because otherwise she would be lofted up on her perch saying, I'm up here, appeal to me like I'm your Juliet, guys come and get me. Instead, what she's saying is a real man, a real man, a real man. And in the right situation, a quote unquote real man will do it. But I know just the person to explain the situation and the conditions for that. A gentleman by the name of Black Uru.
In terms of my analogy of embracing the villain would be a fundamental, just total, I don't give an F about any of that at this point going forward. Yeah. I don't care about any of that. I don't care. I don't want to hear it. You know, even if I understand it intellectually, I don't care. I'm not going to marshal any resources to help them to deal with it. I'm not going to advocate or vote for anything to help them to deal with it. I'm off of that. I'm off of the colorism thing. I'm off of the featureism thing. I'm off of all of that. You're either going to roll with me in the program I come up with in order for us to make it, or you're my nemesis, and I got to treat you that way in order for me to survive and thrive.
One of the biggest lessons that I've had to learn as a self-admitted nice guy in my later adulthood was that if someone is going to be a part of my personal life, my romantic life, they're going to have to do it on my terms. And if it's not on my terms, then it's just not really worth the effort, because I have things I really want to do. I have a limited amount of time on this planet. And if we're going to have something together, it's going to have to be the way that I choose to do it, or we're not going to do it. And as nice guys, and I'm sure some of you are that muscle is one that we have to learn to develop. And so you can start to see now in some of the TikToks that young ladies are kind of sort of slowly coming around saying, why don't you come and court us again? But that's not nearly enough. And as you can hear with Black Uru, he's saying, I'm not asking for cooperation. I'm asking for unequivocal, I could say surrender, but really getting on my program. It's my way or bust. And if you don't want to do it my way, then just go date somebody else. Because I don't have to spend $200 to try and woo you so that you might be my girlfriend for a little while and then whatever. I can take you on an ice cream date. If you like the ice cream date, then I can take you on a different date. And when I decide that I like you, then I can spend all the money I want to spend on you. But I don't have to validate myself from the very beginning, because that $300, $400 is something I could use to invest in my future family and my future finances. And if you have a problem with that, so be it. That indifference is powerful. And as the environment is changing and you're starting to see young ladies come around and go to empty clubs, you're starting to see some guys embrace that power. The power of, I don't have to do a darn thing in this dating market except wait for the right woman to come to me or go somewhere where that right woman is. I think the one power that black men either staying at home or going overseas has to work on is their ability to turn their back to a young lady who is not on his program. She might be extremely sexy, beautiful. She might do certain things that you really, really like, but if they're not on the same page with you and you try and push it a direction where it's not going to work, you're going to regret it in the end. And what's really going to work, especially in this environment where you're starting to see young ladies say, ooh, you know what? I want you to come back and woo me again. That temptation has to go closer to, listen, we do it my way or we don't do it. That way you're going to get what you want out of the relationship, or she can leave. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, comment below. I'll catch you next video. Take care, guys.